I'm that would be ridiculous. So I'm going to talk about it for the fans. And honestly, this is something, I'm sorry to say, that's been addressed on this program before by myself and April. This is something that we addressed the best we could at the time because of what we're both under before. So over the weekend, a small corner of the internet got a hold of it and went, aha, my smoking gun. Really? A 2.5-year-old fight with no allegations of abuse from either of the two parties, but rather a third party retelling as that third party is putting legal papers on both of us. I mean, all right, fine. I'll play. I'll address it. First of all, we'll get to it in a little bit. We'll talk about the whole thing. I will say this. I have been talking to people in private. Keanu and I had a lovely talk yesterday. I'm not going to say the specifics of the talk, but let's just say it made me feel a lot better about the whole thing. There is a way I can talk to people in private about this that I cannot talk about publicly. Right now, a third party has an order on both April and I that really prevents us from fully talking about the full story of all of this stuff. Unfortunately, I will just say this. The part that people who hate this show are focusing on is a part that when the both of us saw it, when we got our separate copies of the paperwork, we both went, oh, Jesus Christ, that was not, no. And there was upsetness and everything. I'll tell you this. We got this paperwork that leaked. April and I got it in January of this year. And I will say the Ricadas were there. The Ricadas were there when we got it. And, flat out, we were both like, oh, that is not the way it happened. That is not. So, yeah, I got witnesses on that one. I'm not too worried about it. We'll get to it in a second. I actually did do notes on this. And the reason I did notes is because if I mention a third party in a particular way, I could find myself in deep trouble. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to talk about this in a way that limits. It's tough because I have to talk about it in a way that limits third-party involvement. But the only reason this exists is because of third-party involvement. I'll tell you something else. I really hope for all of you, whether you love me or hate me, I hope the worst fight of your relationship, marriage, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, I really hope that a shoddy description of your worst fight ever never becomes public because it just gets retarded. Now, did this get terrible? No. I mean, like I said, it was a very small corner of the internet, whatever. In fact, when I was talking to Keanu yesterday, Keanu was like, this is all just your haters. She goes, honestly, I don't even know if you should address it tomorrow. And I'm like, no, you know what? I want to address it for two reasons. One, because we've addressed it before. April and I have talked about this exact thing in the past on the show as best we could at the time because we were upset. Do you remember when April would keep referring to a stack of papers full of lies? That's what she would be. She would be talking about an order that she got. I'm not going to say about mine. Not saying anything about mine. It was about an order that she got that I also received for myself. And she was not too keen about the stuff that was in it. Neither was I. Some of the stuff in it makes April and I look great. And that's the stuff from about 8-9 months ago. So here's what happened. Over on Kiwi Farms, remember the guy who leaked the Ricada 9-year-old testing positive for document? Yeah, that guy. He got a hold of a protection order that's out against me from a third party and a protection order that's against April from a third party. This was something that broke April and I's hearts at the time because we were everything was going very well. There's a theme in April and I's relationship where everything is going really well and a third-party incident finds its way in there. That was a common theme where April and I would be on a hot streak, and then it always seemed like something from the outside wanted to come in. Not any specific person, just something from the outside. So in January of this year, April and I both get served with the document that leaked. And as April and I get served with the document that leaked, and the Ricadas were over, we sat, we cried, we talked about it, everything else. We went through everything in it, and we were like, and honestly, when you get one of these, we looked through it, and both of us went, no, 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 no. And we decided we're going to fight this. And as it got more and more expensive to fight it, as we found no headway in negotiating a different form of it, because, this thing wouldn't let April drive the children to pick. You remember when Monday shows had to move to 7:30? That's because April was not legally allowed to drop the children off. This person didn't want, this order didn't want April dropping the children off or picking the children up. And any parent will tell you that's going to drive a wedge between those relationships. So this whole thing comes out. I will say this. I could easily come out here and go, oh, yeah, that leak, it's a total fake. Look how shitty it looks. I will say this. It is the incomplete order. It's not the whole thing. I mentioned things in it to people, and they're like, that's not in here. Well, no, that's fascinating. But I think it's just one. I don't know if it's mine or hers, but it's one of the two. And it's just, look, again, I have to be careful with how I say this. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. And naturally, I'm not going to agree with everything that's in there. April didn't agree with everything that's in there. I will say this, no matter how much April and I dislike each other at this point, and we do, I do wish she was here to talk about this one. Because one thing I think her and I would still be lockstep on this issue. Because like I said, we've discussed it before. So this document gets leaked. And in the document, ignoring everything else in the document, everyone who hates my guts goes right to a screenshot of a text that April had sent a third party after a massive fight we had. It was early 2022. It was about 2.5 years ago, this fight. So a fight 2.5 years ago. We were I can't really say what we were. Let's just say we were fighting about texts we got that didn't seem to match up. One of us got a text saying one thing. One of us got a text saying another thing. I won't say who it was from, anything like that. We didn't know that we got conflicting texts until we made up after the fight. But one of us was operating on the information we had. The other one was operating on the information they had. Big miscommunication, starts a massive fight. We start fighting. More on the fight in a second. So this text comes out about this terrible fight we had 2.5 years ago. It comes out in this order that a third party is putting on the two of us. Two of us doing fantastic. Wonderful relation. Like I said, April and I may have had our problems, but one thing both of us say, even in the text that between April and I, when we were going through the actual divorce and she was picking up her stuff and everything else, one thing we always said, when it was good, it was great. We were amazing.